How many zeros? Yeah. Because it's saying for how many values of x, and this means y equals 0. That's the same thing as saying how many x-intercepts. That's all that means. Because when y equals 0, that's the x-intercept. So who would say A, there's 1? Who would say B, there's 2? Who would choose C for 3? Exactly, good. Because we got 1, 2, 3. So the answer is C. Very, very simple question. So I'm pulling a lot of questions like essays because you are all juniors and seniors. So most of you may be considering, doing school after high school. So you'll be taking the SAT or ACT. And even some of these questions I'm pulling are from the ASVAB, which is the military entrance exam. Just so you all can kind of see how these questions are asked and kind of have a little bit of familiarity with it. All right, take out your note packet, I believe. So we're skipping a little bit in our notes. We're going to go to page 10. And this should be a little bit of a review because we're just adding and subtracting. So 2.3, when can we add or subtract terms? And that is when they are like terms. So what is a like term? A like term simply means you have the same variable and you also have the same exponent. So if that is true, if you have the same variable and the same exponent, then we say that they are like terms. So go ahead and look at each row and circle the ones that will be like terms. So there is one in each row. So for question number 1, circle the one that is a like term with x squared. In the second, question 2, circle which is a like term of negative 2x to the 4th. And for question 3, which is a like term of 9a. So again, you're looking for the same variable and the same exponent. So in order for it to be a like term with x squared, it has to have an x and a squared. So which one would you choose? First, middle, last. Which one? Angel, which one would you pick? The first one. Yeah, I agree. What about number 2? Georgia, which one would you pick? The first one? Because the first one, we needed to have an x to the power of 4. So which one has an x to the power of 4? Yeah, the second one. Good job. And then number 3, a 9 and an a. LaShawn, which one would you pick? Which one? Negative 21a, and that's it. So now we're going to add and subtract. Today's lesson is focusing on adding and subtracting. And adding and subtracting is just combining your like terms. That's all you have to do. All right. So let's look at this one. This is addition. So we just need to add our like terms. I'm going to color code it. So these 2 yellow terms are like terms. This green and this green are like terms. And these 2 pink are like terms. So let's add it together. When I add together the yellow, that would be 2 plus negative 1, because there's an invisible negative 1 right here. So that would give you positive 2x squared. What do you get when you add the 2 green terms, Royal? What would you get if you add negative 5 and negative 7? negative 12x. And then the 3 and the 5, 3 plus 5 is 8. That would be your answer. That's it. Question B is also addition. So again, our like terms. So this x to the third is a like term with that 5x to the third. This x squared doesn't have a like term because we don't have an x squared in this parentheses. So we don't have a friend. The negative 8x is a like term with the positive 2x. And the positive 1 is a like term with the negative 1. And I always start with the highest exponent and go down. Okay, so when I add these together, x to the third and 5x to the third, what do you think we're going to get when we add those? There's an invisible 1 right here. Go ahead and put the 1 if you need to. So we're adding the 1 and the 5. What is 1 plus 5? 6. Again, this one does not have a like term. Oh, that's to the power of 3. Sorry, not to the power of 2. 6x to the power of 3. We don't change our exponent. All right, this negative 6x squared does not have a like term, so we're just going to bring him down. And then in your calculator, you're going to add the negative 8 and the positive 2. Negative 8, positive 2. Javen, what would you get for that? Not negative 10. So go ahead and add the negative 8 and a positive 2. So it's negative 8 plus 2. Negative 6. We got a lot of 6s happening here. And then at the end, the negative, positive 1 and the negative 1 cancel out. So you don't have to write anything. You could either leave it like that, or you could just add the plus 0. That plus 0, though, is optional. You can leave it off. Any questions? All right, let's look at letter C. I'm going to give you a couple minutes. I want you to try to do this one on your own. All right, go ahead and compare your answer. Raise your hand if you have that answer. Has to be exactly the same. Same variable, and the signs have to match too. Any questions about that one? Who remembers this? I feel like this is a review. Probably from integrated 1 or 2 maybe. All right. Now let's talk about subtraction. When it's subtraction, we have to do a rewrite. So I'm going to write this again. I'm not going to change anything in this first parentheses. I'm just going to rewrite it on the line. Negative x squared plus 5x plus 17. But because it's subtraction, everything in this second parentheses is going to change signs. So that negative x is going to become a positive x. So put a positive x on the line. And the positive 23 is going to become a negative 23. Now that we have done that, we can combine our like terms. starting with the highest power, which is x to the power of 2. That one does not have a friend. So in my answer, it's just going to stay the same. And then we have our 5x and our 1x. 5x and 1x. So Adriel, what would that give you? 5x plus 1x. 6x. And then lastly, we have in your calculator, add the 17 minus 23. 17 minus 23. What'd you say, Gabby? -6. Anybody else get -6? All right, that's it. Couple more questions. Let's go ahead and do our distribute. So again, this one stays the same. We're just going to rewrite it on the line. Don't change anything. And every single sign in this parentheses is going to flip. Every single sign. So that positive 5x cubed will become a negative 5x cubed. The positive 2x squared becomes a negative 2x squared. The negative 6x becomes a positive 6x. And the negative 9 becomes a positive 9. After you rewrite it, then you combine like terms. So take a minute, combine your like terms. So again, I always start with the highest one. I'm gonna start with that one. Does that negative 5x cubed have a like term? Can we add it with anything? No, so we're just gonna bring that one on down. So that would just be negative 5x cubed. And then we have our x squared terms. 8x squared and negative 2x squared. What would that give you? 8 plus negative 2. Willie, what would you put for that? 8 minus 2. Positive 6. Good. And then we go to our next term. We have a negative 3 and a positive 6. So Osiris, what would you put for that one? A negative 3 and a positive 6. Positive or negative? Positive 3x. And then lastly, we have our 1 and our 9, which gives you 10. And that would be your final answer. Only when this is subtraction. You only have to do the rewrite when it's subtraction. If it's addition, we don't have to do it. All right, go ahead and do this one on page 11. Take a minute. we distribute that 4x to the power of 2, and then negative 6x, negative 13, that stays the same. Now, only these two are going to change. Both of these change. So that becomes a negative 6x and a negative 4. Combine your like terms. So that would be 4x squared by itself. Now, here's one that kids miss a lot. What do you think negative 6 plus negative 6 is? A lot of kids say that's 0, but it's not 0. What do you get when you add negative 6 and a negative 6? What'd you say? Well, we keep it negative because we're adding. So it'll be negative 12x. And then we have negative 13 and negative 4. What is that? Negative 17. Good job. All right, last one. Go ahead and try to do that one on your own. Oh, never mind. That's the last one for today. We left the last one on. All right, I need to, first of all, this is not homework 2. We actually skipped over homework 2 and went right to homework 3, and I'll pass those out in a second. And it's due on February 23rd. And I'll put that back up in a second.